Today we will discuss about spacing of rural settlements. You all know what rural settlement is. Is what rural settlement is? Yes, it is characterized by rural settlement is characterized by yes
People
rural
engage in primary
yes
activities.
people primary activity dominates in rural settlements. So today we will briefly discuss about types of rural settlements. There are many types of rural settlements, but some very important one we are going to discuss are yes. Can you remember? Yes, yes,
Compact, semi-hamleted.
yes. Compact, compact rural settlement. You can read what is written on the board. Yes. Can you read what is written on the board? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Compact, semi-compact. Yes. Someone told me hamleted. Yes. And dispersed. Dispersed. We should be clear that there is a difference between types of rural settlements and patterns of rural settlements. Here we are discussing about types of rural settlements. It is not pattern. Pattern is what is the pattern of rural settlements? Yes.
The shape.
Yes, shape and their relative spacing and their relative positioning towards each other. That is the pattern to for every household. What is their relative spacing and what is their relative position? That's a different. Their a pattern shows we have discussed. So compact. These all names are self-explanatory. There are mainly four types of rural settlements: compact, semi-compact, dispersed, and hamleted. What is compact? Let's have a brief introduction. What is compact rural settlement? Yes. Yes. Compact means
So there are not many houses living close to each other.
houses are situated, or dwellings are situated very near, in compact fashion. That is dense. Whatever may be the pattern, they are dense. Semi-compact is they are situated a little far away. They are still dense. They are still compact, but it's semi-compact. There is some space between dwellings. Dispersed is yes. Dispersed settlement is yes. Dispersed
There
means
are 2 or 3 houses in one place, then again.
yes, like this. There's a relative distancing, the relative space between the houses are the group of houses. You can very well assume that they are group houses. Um, in relations, people having the relationship are having the same family, they usually make their houses together. So that is a cluster. There are many clusters, but between these clusters, in this cluster, many houses can be there. In this cluster, one house can be there. Are two houses. Okay, so that is the dispersed settlement. The distance can be more. Now, what is hamleted? One isolated dwelling here, one isolated dwelling here, one isolated dwelling here, one isolated dwelling here. why we are calling them one village? Yes. Why we are calling them one village? These are individual settlements. Why we are calling them one village? Yes. Can you tell me why we are calling them one village? क्यों हम इन्हें एक village कह रहे हैं? ये जो hamleted वाला है, one hamlet there, one hamlet there, one hamlet there. Why we are calling them one village? Yes. Why we are calling them one village? Can anyone tell me? They are so far away from each other. Why we are calling them one village? Yes, Khushbu. Why we are calling them one village? Yes, Tejas. क्यों हम इन्हें एक विलेज कह रहे हैं? What may be the reason? ये दूर दूर है, इन्हें हम isolated dwellings भी कह सकते हैं. Why we are calling, why and when we are calling them one village? Have anyone have any idea?
Maybe sir, they are guided by one headland.
Yes,
Or one
yes.
common territory, they belong to one common territory.
One territory. Yes, territory. There is. We are calling them part of one village, so they belong to one. But why we are calling? Why we are not calling them isolated dwellings? There is a category isolated dwellings. One keyword is there. What is that keyword? Keyword is connections. They have connections. Connection decides connection. Interplay, interplay of relationships, interplay of going and of goods and services, interaction of good, some service, this house, the residents of this house are giving to this, from this house to this, interaction is taking place. So that defines that say that connections are very important in any settlement. If they don't have any connection, suppose this is cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, cluster 4. If they don't have any connection between each other, then they don't signify, they don't classify to be in one village, isn't it? Connection बहुत important है, interplay, interaction, one unit. They're working as one unit. They consider them as one unit and they are working as one unit. ये बात कुछ समझ में आ रही है या नहीं? इन्हें हम एक विलेज इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि they are considered as one unit. Okay. And why we are classifying them in these types: compact, semi-compact, dispersed, hamleted. You can make other categories also, but for the sake of convenience, we are taking these 4 types. So why this? Here, spacing and connections are very important. If there is connection from between C1, C2, C3 and C4, then that is a unit. If there is connection between these houses, then that is a unit. If there is a connection. Here, in all likelihood, there is a connection. So we are not discussing. But here the connection is doubtful. But if the connection is there, then they are part of one unit. If the connection is not there, they are not part of one unit. Okay? Now, why this spacing is there? Yes, why this spacing is there? Why this spacing is there? What factors affect these spacing? Yes. Why many are far away, why many are are situated near each other? Why is there compact pattern? Why? Why this spacing? Why this hierarchy or spacing is there? Yes. Why this spacing is there? Yes. Why this spacing is there? Yes. Can anyone tell me why? What are the factors which affect this spacing, which cause this spacing? Yes. What may be the factors? क्यों कोई सेटलमेंट कॉम्पैक्ट है या सेमी कॉम्पैक्ट है या डिस्पर्स्ड है या हेमलेटेड है? Why? और उनके बीच में जगह स्पेस कम या ज्यादा है? Why that distance is there? क्या फैक्टर्स इस डिस्टेंस को कम या ज्यादा होगी अफेक्ट करते हैं? कैन यू? यस.
Compactness due to security factors.
Yes. Maybe some security reasons should be there. Yes. Yes. Security is one of the factors. They stay in close vicinity of each other because of security reasons. Yes. Security is one of the reasons. Any other reason?
Joint family system.
Yes, maybe. Yes, family structure. Yes. Sometimes a village is consisted of largely one family member, or one caste. In the Western UP, this is the norm. One caste villages you can found. You can find one caste villages, Tyagi villages, Kushwaha village. You can find one caste village in Western UP. The typical characteristic of Western rural space, Western UP rural space. Family structure, yes. Any other you don't think topography plays a role? Topography of the land, topography of the area. Topography. What topography is there? Topography decides the spacing of dwellings, decides the spacing of fields, decides the spacing of living space. Topography is one of the important reasons. Then, weather conditions. Yes?
System.
Yes, Mamita?
Caste system.
Caste system, maybe, yes. Layout, caste system affects layout, as we have discussed. Caste system affects layout of the village. In India especially, caste system affects layout of the city. Yes, you are very right. Caste system, yes. Soil fertility. If the soil is fertile, then what type of settlements we may get? That's quality of the soil you can see. Yes. If the soil is more fertile, then what types of settlements may result? Compact settlements. More, the carrying capacity of the land will be more. It can nourish, it can hold more people. The soil fertility is the reason. And in the patches where if there are patches of soil fertility, fertile soil, then that type of settlement, cluster type of settlement may emerge. Hamleted settlement, hamleted settlement is characteristic of generally low soil fertility and difficult terrain, a difficult topography. Yes, isn't it? पहाड़ी एरियाज में आप मेनली हैमलेटेड सेटलमेंट पाएंगे, isn't it? And then one of the very important factor is uh, nature or and availability of surface and subsurface water. Surface and subsurface water. Availability of water. The greatest example is one of the greatest example is oasis. Oasis villages or oasis settlement. Because of the availability of water, the compact settlements develop. And in India, sometimes the settlement is located around one pond, a water reservoir. Anywhere in the world, the houses are situated along one pond or one lake, around the lake. Yes. Communication channel, your transport channel. Yes. Communication channel. Communication or transport. Sometimes you can find the settlement along a road or along a canal, as the case may be. You can find settlements along a canal because availability of water is there also. And here the communication channel is there. You can see that urban sprawl often takes place along the roads. Or the settlement is on the bank of the river, or mouth of the river, as we have discussed yesterday. Because water availability is there. Or subsurface water also plays a role. If the subsurface water, groundwater is available, then it can be harnessed. And then the irrigation is there. You can irrigate your crops. And you can have a good crop. High yielding crops, good crops, good agricultural productivity is there. So the village comes up and it becomes compact. And pattern of land holding is also a very important factor. Pattern of land holding is also a very important factor. Land holding. What type of land holding is there? If the land holding is large, the houses will be situated far away from each other. Isn't it? If one person has got a big chunk of land, then, and that is the norm in the village, that is the norm in the settlement, then the settlement will be not so compact. The small land holding is there, there are chances that settlement will be compact. And yes, someone pointed out social structure is also a cause. Social structure. In India, mainly social structure plays a role in layout of the settlement. What are the main important factors we have discussed? Are security, family structure, topography, nature of topography, caste system, which affects the layout, soil fertility, surface and subsurface availability of surface and subsurface water, soil quality or soil fertility, land holding, size of land holding. Land holding size is a very important factor. And social structure. These are the main factors which affect the type of the settlement and the spacing of the settlement. What space between the dwellings will be there? depends on mainly these factors, and that decides the type of the settlement and spacing of the settlement. There are two things